Welcome to the Crunch Time Instagram Live podcast, hosted by me, Benjamin Bullock. This podcast features nothing but real talk analysis and conversations about sports, entertainment, news, and much more. Now, strap in and buckle your seatbelts because it's time for Crunch Time. What's happening, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Crunch Time right here on my Instagram Live. I'm Benjamin Bullock, man. Thank y'all for joining me and everything, hopping on here with me this Thursday evening, September the 3rd. So we're in another month of this crazy year, 2020, man. And I really appreciate y'all hopping on with me and being very supportive of everything with of this whole entire movement and Crunch Time. So for those who are joining me for the very first time, this particular Crunch Time, this particular episode or this particular podcast, I should say, really just try to dive in and give you real talk analysis and provide real talk conversations about sports, entertainment, and whatever else that might be, any current events that might be happening across the country and the world, or whatever I'm just feeling, man. So I definitely want to appreciate y'all time and y'all fans and all the fans and the entire audience, everybody who's chimed in. So for this particular week, I'm going to focus on kind of the events that's been surrounding the WNBA and the NBA. And for my guest this week, I have my man Eric Woodyard of ESPN, also Dorothy Gentry from The Athletic, New York Times, 25 years of experience. She's a veteran in the sports industry. She's a reporter, so she's been around the block a lot. So I appreciate y'all hopping on with me. So the title of this episode, or this particular episode, is The Fight for Social Justice with the NBA and the WNBA, them teaming up to kind of fight this fight that we've been fighting for so long as Black people for equality and just strictly just social justice. So I'm going to go ahead and get Eric on here first, man. That's my man. Like I said, I've been knowing Eric for quite some time. We know each other through NABJ, and he's one of my best friends out there in the industry. I'm going to go ahead and add Eric. Big E.
What's good, boy?
What's up, man? What's going on?
Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I got you, bro. I hear you just fine, loud and clear, bro. What's going on?
Gotta make sure I ain't on here like Teddy Riley and nobody.
And no, we made some advancements. Everything been good since then, bro. You know what I mean? What's going on, bro? You good up there in Flint, man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Just been steady working. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing changed. Same old.
Yeah. Speaking of work, man, how's life been as a reporter, man? Report on the NBA. You can't even cover games. You got to do press conferences through Zoom and all that.
It was weird at first, I ain't even gonna lie. It was super weird, but once with anything, you're gonna adapt. I think that's what we all been taught this whole year, is just to kind of adapt to the circumstances. And after a while, we've been doing it so long that you just kind of figure it out, man, and try to be creative. And I think I've been doing a pretty good job at it.
Bro, you've been killing that thing, by the way.
Man, I appreciate it, man. For real.
I've been hearing you on Zoom calls, answering them questions and everything.
Every day, man. It's kind of been good though, because with being able to be on those Zoom calls, I was busy a lot throughout the regular season, so you're able to get not face to face, but get FaceTime with people that you normally wouldn't be able to as regularly. So right. Man, I was following a lot of teams. It was a lot of work, man, but it's been fun.
That's cool, man. Y'all, this is Eric Woodyard of ESPN, a reporter. He's based in Chicago, so he handles a lot of the Midwest region when it comes to the NBA. But more specifically, you cover the Bucks, so you're pretty busy right now. And last week, they really made news waves in regards to what happened up there in Kenosha, Wisconsin, with Kyle Rittenhouse and also Jacob Blake. So they decided to boycott Game 5, which sparked a 3-day shutdown of the NBA and a 2-day shutdown of the WNBA. So just kind of walk us through kind of what happened, once you got word of everything. Because as a reporter, if you're down there, you can kind of get word, check your sources. But when you're away, you're not even in the loop, kind of.
Yeah, it was crazy. We talked to before every game. It's just like a normal day. We're just not there. So we get the pregame availability with the coach. And so we was talking to, Coach Mike Budenholzer, and, somebody brought that up. Would they protest? Because we saw reports of other teams possibly want to do that. So I didn't really think it would be anything seriously though. So as I'm watching the game, just like everybody else, we starting to see things develop. Obviously internal communication. Then once everything start to uncover it all makes sense, because George Hill was the first one. He's kind of been outspoken about this topic. I think he was kind of torn on being in the bubble in the first place. Right. I had sat on he was on a panel in Indianapolis, and he was kind of just saying how it really affected him. He broke out crying. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So this was like before they entered the bubble, maybe a couple weeks in advance. So I know he was really struggling with that beforehand. So to my knowledge, guys were getting dressed. It wasn't like it was planned. This wasn't a planned thing. Guys were getting dressed. Like Wesley Matthews said, he was in the locker room, like putting his shorts on. And then like, George Hill came out and was like, the first kind of to take the stand. From there, Sterling Brown stepped up. And, with Sterling, his situation with the police that he had, him being, tased by police for, parking in the spot at Walgreens that he wasn't supposed to, like kind of just being racially profiled.
Right.
And, from there, Giannis got on board, and it was just like a team-wide thing, and they stood tall with it, and they thought they were going to have to forfeit the game, until the league stepped in and made it a postponement. But they was really set on that. And I think with it being in their backyard, that really, really hit home to them.
Right. How are you able to cover that, bro? Because considering, the Bucks is in your backyard, but you in Michigan right now, and, like you said, you hear all these things happening. But so how did it go in terms of trying to get, the right quotes and the right, checking in with the right sources and everything?
From that point, it's collaborative, man. That's why we got people in the bubble and we got people still working from outside the bubble. So a lot of the things, as far as happening on the ground, they were there. Malika Andrews, Adrian Wojnarowski, Mark Spears, they inside handle it from there. But then once we start to get, a little more reports and, availability and stuff, then I'm taking in from my job. So it's like, it's a team effort when it's something like that. If I was there, obviously it'd be a lot different. But, it was a team effort. But this whole year we've been, having to adapt. I was in Milwaukee the day that, that Rudy Gobert tested positive, and the next day Donovan tested positive. That kind of forced the league to shut down. So we kind of used to being on our toes at this point. So, it's kind of all hands on deck at that point.
Yeah, I feel like Malika did a really good job in terms of, like, she was really on point with everything, really doing a lot of videos and everything. Talk about her role in breaking all that story that she did and all that.
Man, yeah, she's been phenomenal, man. It's my first year, so I'm leaning on them a lot, from Malika to Woj to Mark Spears to Tim Bontemps to, Tim McMahon, everybody, man. Everybody's kind of just been, I've been leaning on everybody, and it's been a great experience. But, Malika's somebody I talked to. She was doing my job before me in Milwaukee, so like I said, I'm learning, man. It's my first year there. I'm not pretending like I know everything, but I'm picking my spots too. I got to get my jabs here and there. So it is what it is, man.
I feel you, man. Talk to me a little about the article that you wrote last week about Milwaukee being disappointed in the state's legislative because they weren't really trying to revamp their police policies. I know policing policies, because I know the team issued a statement, or they came out as a group. Talk to everybody. I think George Hill was the one to do that.
Yeah, him and Sterling Brown, they were the ones to step up and do that. Like I say, they were the first two to really address the situation. Yeah, man. So, I'm not really big off into politics. I got into sports for a reason. But obviously in these situations, you got to be knowledgeable. You got to know about everything at this point. So guys were extremely disappointed. Basically in Wisconsin, it's Republican controlled, to my knowledge. So the governor, Tony Evers is his name, he called like a special session pretty much to like address a package of bills. And some of those were like policies on policing. And they were trying to get, obviously after Jacob Blake was shot in Kenosha in Wisconsin, they were trying to bring some policing policies, including like, them getting more training, just like basic things, the ban of use of chokeholds, no knock warrants by police. The same situation with like Breonna Taylor. So they were really trying to like really de-escalate situations moving forward. They were trying to present the bill. So basically the legislation came right in and just like didn't even address the situation at all. So Kyle Korver, Chris Middleton, those guys like expressed disappointment. Like this is whack. Pretty much that's what they came on and said. And we stood up, to really try to make a stand, make a statement. And it's like y'all not even listening or addressing the problem. So they're like, we representing this state. We're trying to win a championship, and it's like y'all not even considering our voice. So it was a lot of disappointment from within the team.
Man, I know that was just crazy, just in how's everything kind of turned out, with the WNBA and NBA, man. So what do you say? What do you think in your opinion, how they've handled in terms of kind of taking on, that voice and that this challenge of being a voice for against social injustice, man? I know they've done a lot, especially LeBron James and a couple other people within the league, Chris Paul as well.
Yeah, man, I think it's been cool. I think I really like them speaking up. I just hope guys doing it from the heart and they're knowledgeable about what they're doing. I think the Bucks has been extremely knowledgeable. They were on a call with, people within Wisconsin that could really, make some change there, when they did boycott the game. So a lot of people were saying, like, why did they boycott and then go right back into hooping? You know, for them, they saw us a bigger message. Every night is Black Lives Matter on the court. You know, we study addressing these issues, study putting pressure on them every single day. So I think as long as they're knowledgeable about the topic and not using it for like a PR standpoint or something like that, I'm all for it. You know, it's been a lot of young guys that's really been out there. You know, shout out to Donovan Mitchell. You know, he's been doing a lot speaking out. It's been LeBron James, obviously. You know, all the stars in the leagues, young stars, they've been really coming out and putting pressure because this is something that really, really affects them. So, yeah, I don't have no issue as long as they're passionate about it and not just doing it as a publicity stuff.
Right. This is Eric Woodyard from ESPN. If y'all have any questions for him, go and drop it right down there in the comment section. So, Eric, man, obviously, as you know, from like the Trump supporters, a lot of the Republican parties, or whatever you might case, the Republican Party, I should say, whatever case might be, there's been a lot of pushback in regards to, you know, athletes, even dating back to, you know, Colin Kaepernick and what Muhammad Ali did, even at the 1972 Olympics, 68 Olympics, back then, you know, they feel like athletes shouldn't even be involved within politics, man. And there's been a lot of pushback on that, especially recently. You know, why do you think, in your personal opinion, why do you think it's been so much pushback on that?
You know, I think back in the day, it was so much like the dumb athlete. You know what I mean? You look at like movies, you know, athletes portray like these dummies that don't know nothing, that's punch drunk. You know, you look at like Harlem Nights, you know, with a boxer on there when they got him like acting, you know, like it's like a perception around athletes that they don't know what they're talking about, that they're, you know, kind of like dumb in a sense. So I think this generation of athletes is totally different. They're not buying it. They know they influence. They know what they're a brand at that point. You know, they understand how much impact they have, and it's like a whole nother generation, man. And it's like they're woke. They're seriously woke, and they know what's going on. They're influential. They have a lot of influence on, you know, pop culture and everything, religion, race. Like anybody like that follows pretty much everything in life follows athletes. You know, so they know their role. And I think people just don't want to accept that. You know, like LeBron James on a whole nother level, man. So it's like, as long as guys are knowledgeable and they're coming out and speaking facts and know what they're talking about, it's tough for people to deal with that. And I think it's just it's a generational shift, you know, that's going on, and some people can't deal with it.
Feel you, man. I feel you. This is Eric Woodyard from ESPN. If y'all got any questions for him, go and drop it down in the comment section. I got a couple more questions for Eric. Eric, you personally, man, you being a black man in America, you being a father and a reporter, man, I know it's kind of been a difficult time, but it's been a different time for you in regards to kind of balancing your work, being a dad, and kind of seeing everything that's transpired within our country, man.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. And people always ask me how I feel. It's like, man, it's been going on my whole life. There's nothing new. It's really not. So it's like, for me, it's totally different. I think I want to see change in every facet of life. You know what I'm saying? I want to see change in media. You know, we talk about that a lot, but you look at media companies and it's not diverse in that sense. So we covering all these topics, and there's a lot of African Americans doing that. So I want to see diversity in every aspect of life. You know, it shouldn't be no more the first black to do this, the first black to do that. We should be equal playing field. You know, I think we're heading in the right direction. People noticing it, but now it's time to really put us in those positions to be successful. And I just really want to see change on all sides of life. You know, and like I say, this is something I've been dealing with my whole life. It's nothing new. So it's like, yeah, I'm affected by it, but I mean, I'm in a city where it's been a water crisis going on for the last 5-6 years. You know what I mean? So like, for me, it's nothing new. It's like, y'all's preaching to the choir at this point. What are we going to do to change it? So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
So pretty much like, what's the next step? Like, we've been kind of in this same mode for a while, but so we're trying to figure out what's the next step, man. We got a question right here, man, from Tidy. His question is, do you think the athletes will continue to protest even if they get justice for George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and et cetera?
I mean, I think they're going to continue to find, you know, different situations, different things to speak up for, the voiceless. You know, that's what they're speaking up for, the voiceless people. So as long as these situations keep happening, as long as guys keep murdering people, you know, on social media where we can see it right there, of course they're going to keep speaking up. Why wouldn't they? That's what they're down there fighting for. So, yeah, that's the purpose of this. It's not a publicity stuff. There's something that's going on. There's something that, you know, black people, we being hunted. Like, that's crazy. We really getting shot in the back with no guns. You know what I'm saying? Like, put that in perspective. It's like people don't understand that, man. Like, how can't you understand? That's all I want to say. It's like common sense.
No, that's cool, man. I love that answer, man. If y'all have any questions for Eric, go and drop it right down there in the comment section. All right, bro, let's talk hoops, man. Your Bucks, man, they down 2-0 to Miami, man. So why they struggling against the Heat, bro?
Man, it's a lot. You know, like the Heat had a lot of success against them in the regular season. People don't realize they was the only team, well, the first team to beat them twice in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
That team is just they tough. I think more so than X's and O's than anything, they're tough as
Yeah.
nails. Starting with Jimmy Butler,
Yeah, their
he
mentality.
finally, yeah, it's that killer mentality. Jay Crowder, I was out there in Utah with him, so I know how he built. You know, tough minded, not scared of nobody. Bam Adebayo, you know what I'm saying? Like these guys ready to hoop. Kendrick Nunn from Chicago, like these
Mm-hmm.
boys ready to hoop, and I think they're
And he
bringing
ain't
it to
been playing
Milwaukee.
like that. Dunn ain't been playing
Yeah,
like
he
that.
ain't. But I'm just saying, just that
Mm-hmm.
DNA, that mentality, like within that locker room is totally different. And I think Milwaukee got the, they got the talent there, but it's just like they got to tap into that inner dog. They got to bring that inner beast out. And I think from an X and O standpoint, like teams that's been successful against Milwaukee, they can shoot the three very well. So like when teams knocking down the three, I don't know why they don't have an answer for defending that three. They can protect the paint, but defending that
Right.
three is tough. And like building that wall around Giannis. Giannis put up good numbers last game, but the first game, I think he
Mm-hmm.
had like 6 points in the paint or something like that. So I think when you build that wall and be successful, like Toronto kind of gave the blueprint last year with Kawhi,
Mm-hmm.
they struggle with those teams. So it's crazy.
Right. Man, I think, man, with Giannis, man, well, not even, we'll take it back. With Miami, obviously, I think Eric Spoelstra is a really good head coach. I don't think he really gets enough credit, obviously, because he had, the big three down at Miami, and pretty much everybody said all he had to do was roll the ball out, and they'll just win. But what obviously we see right now, it's not the case. It's about coaching and it's about players. And like you said with Jimmy Butler, man, he just sets the tone for the entire team to go along with Bam, to go along with Tyler Hero. And then you got Goran Dragic. Then you got Jones off the bench, ready to come in at any point in time, not only as a dunker, but also as a defender, kind of lock people down on the wing.
Right, definitely. I can't agree more with that, man. And it's just that mentality. I think it's that dog mentality. It's that mindset, man. And when these playoffs, you got to tap into that inner beast, or you're gonna get ran over.
Right. You got a question from Global Kid Media. He says, who's your favorite Flint natives to cover? He said, I talked to my fellow kids at Miles Camp last year and definitely have my Spartans dog on the list.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was at Miles Camp last year too. I took my son there. My favorite to cover has got to be Claressa Shields. For me, just seeing a young girl, 14, 15 years old, I was like the first person to really write about her, man. And seeing her come from the basement of Burston Fieldhouse, it's equipment ain't nothing down there. They actually doing a movie on it, so y'all will be able to see the equipment is falling apart. It used to be like 90 degrees in there on summer days because they couldn't control the like boiler down there. So
Right.
seeing her grinding down there every day to like becoming a two-time Olympic gold medalist to now calling herself the GOAT, undefeated, running the women's boxing, that was fun. And obviously my Flint guys and really Miles, Monte, Kyle, seeing them guys grow up from high school. But
Right.
Claressa probably my favorite just because of personal connection and seeing her grow up and everything she's able to do, man. So it's all love.
Good, bro. We got a question from my girl Country, aka Andrea Anderson.
Country.
Straight out of H-Town. She's in St. Louis. She was on the show a couple weeks ago, man. She says, what do you think about the Lakers and the Rockets matchup?
Hey, Steve Francis ain't walking back out there. I just messing with it. But no, man, I actually really enjoyed that first round series. OKC and Houston. And even though James Harden struggled offensively, man, that defensive play was huge. I ain't never seen
Huge.
Harden really lock in like that, on
Huge.
defense. And just to see that. So that was like a good sign. But I think LA going to pull it out in 6. I give the Rockets maybe 2 games. The small ball is not really going to work, man. You got Anthony Davis down there. Like, they too big. The Lakers is just a big team. LeBron James pushing point. It's going to be a tough matchup. And just that style of offense, Kobe said it best. It's not really going to work, on that stage. So, like, they got to switch it up. That ISO ball, I don't know, man. I just don't really see it working. I'm curious to see how Westbrook comes back. This series, obviously, he was coming back off the injury and everything and,
Right.
the layoff and everything. So, it'll be a fun series to watch. It's probably going to be high scoring and all that, but I think the Lakers going to get it in 6 or less.
What about the Clippers matchup with Denver?
Yeah, that's going to be a fun matchup. That Utah and Denver matchup was crazy, man. Just seeing Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell just go back and forth, man. That was just like all-time great scoring playoff series right there. But, and again, in that situation, the Clippers too good, man. They locked in, they loaded. Kawhi Leonard, proven champion. You see that guy just snatching the ball out of people's hand defensively. That's just like crazy defensive stuff. So I think same thing, 6 or less in that series as well. I'll be shocked if Denver get 2, but I always want to see Monte Morris do well, Flint guy. Denver's always a fun team to watch. They got Gary Harris back. That was big for them defensively. But the Clippers just too good, man.
I feel you, man. Well, E, man, appreciate your time, man. Taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you about to go watch some hoops right now. You're going to chill out a little bit tonight, but tomorrow I know you're back on the grind when
Man, you already know.
plays Miami Game 3, man. So, hey, man, I'll holler at you, man. Thanks for hopping on with me, bro.
Appreciate it, man. I see you got the nice cameras back there, man. You stepped it up, man. You got the Trey Songz cameras back there.
Hey, we had some good reviews when we first did this thing, so I had to okay, let me step this thing up, man. By the way, your shirt is in the mail, bro. So I got you.
Appreciate it. You know I'm a support, man. I'm proud of everything you're doing, man. Anytime, you know I'm here.
Appreciate you, bro. I'll holler at you.
For sure.
Yep.
All right, bro.
All right, man. That was my man Eric Woodyard, reporter, NBA reporter for ESPN. He specifically covers the Midwest region of the NBA, so he has the inside scoop on the Milwaukee Bucks, Chicago Bulls, and everybody within the Central Division. So coming up next, I got my girl Dorothy Gentry, straight out of Dallas, Texas. So she literally like right around the corner from me. She works for The Athletic. She does some freelance work for the New York Times. She has over 25 years of experience just doing strictly just sports writing, and done some other things as well. And I'm very excited about her to join the show because she's going to give us a particular insight on what the WNBA has been able to do their thing in terms of fighting for social justice within our country. So I'm going to add her right now. Dorothy.
Hello.
What's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Can you? I have a stand for my phone.
Yeah, there you go. Tilt up just a little bit. There you go. That's good right there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for inviting me.
Hey, no problem. I love to want to get your perspective of everything that's going on, and considering that you've been around the block a few times, and everybody knows you within the WNBA, and you're very popular writing for New York Times and The Athletic all over the place. I just really appreciate you joining me here tonight.
Well, thank you, fam. Dallas.
Yes, yes. I know you in Cedar Hill, right?
Yeah.
So I'm in Glen Heights, so I'm right around the corner from you. So we right here.
Exactly.
So how's life been? You covering the WNBA from home. You're not down there in the Wubble, down there at IMG Academy and everything.
No. I have a son too.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah. I need to stay around here, but yeah, it's been good. It's been good. I've enjoyed the virtual. It's kind of different, but I've been doing 3, 4, 5 Zooms a day. So it's been cool.
That's good. That's good. Now, last week, just like the NBA, the WNBA went through a two-day boycott due to the events that happened up there in Kenosha. Just talk to me a little bit about how the WNBA reacted to that, and they pretty much always been on the forefront of voicing their opinions when it comes to racial injustice.
Yeah, I was really pleased to see the WNBA. They followed suit after the Bucks, refused to take the court and then, had their games canceled. But they've always been out there, though, the WNBA, in terms of, spotlighting injustices and just speaking out on anything that's not right. I loved how the Washington Mystics, they all had the shirts with Jacob Blake. Yeah. And then the 7 bullet holes in the back. That was a big statement. So I love it. I feel like they're using their platforms to the best of their ability, and it's on point.
Now it seems like but the WNBA's brand is pretty much taking definitely an uptick in terms of people following, and even with the hoodies and everything, everybody's pretty much hopped on them. You know what I mean? So what does that say about the league? They really taking advantage of this time of just not even having fans within their playing centers, but from around the world. It seems like people are really picking up on their brand.
Yeah, I mean the visibility most definitely is it's growing. Most definitely. I think, in part because of their prominence in the social justice activism, I think the commissioner and her marketing background has helped. She's new, so that has definitely helped. But then you have the visibility increasing because of the players. The NBA players, they're wearing their merchandise. They're sporting the orange hoodies. Attending games pre-corona and pre-bubble. All the NBA players were at the WNBA game, so that helped. But I also think the increased media coverage is helping. You have outlets like Girls Talk Sports with Christina Williams. You got
Right.
Sharon Brown, who she's covered the NBA and the Memphis Grizzlies for a number of years, and now she's covering the NBA, WNBA. You have Howard Medgill with the Next Hoops. You got
Right.
Insider. So, the media coverage is helping too. If you cover it, people will watch it.
Right.
The merchandising, as you see, is selling out as soon as, things are put out with WNBA on it, it sells out. If
Right.
you promote it, they will buy it. So I just think all of these things are like a perfect storm coming together to increase the visibility.
Speaking of visibility, you wrote a phenomenal article that appeared in the New York Times earlier this week about the relationship between Natasha Cloud and also Bradley Beal, both based out of D.C. Natasha plays for the Mystics. Obviously, Bradley Beal plays for the Wizards. They both opted not to play in their respective bubbles, decided to kind of go their own directions, but they somehow managed to link up in this fight for social justice.
Yeah, that was such an honor to speak with both Brad and Natasha. Now, he had an injury, so that's why he opted out.
Right,
Brad,
exactly.
A right shoulder injury. But he still said he always thought that they could still, help promote social justice even in the bubble.
Right.
And then, of course, Natasha opted out specifically for social justice. It was great talking to them because you could tell that this isn't a bandwagon thing for them.
Right.
You could tell that they are really committed and really dedicated to social justice and to change. Brad was like, well, after the elections, we need to start dealing with maybe police brutality, the educational facilities and the money available to the communities. It's like he's already talking about some things to work on after the election. It's like, okay, but what about the NBA season? And he's talking about, making change in the community. Same thing with Natasha. She's coming back to the Mystics, of course, but she was like, we need to do this next and this next, and we need to go here and do this. So it's not a fad for them. And I think their, I don't know, I guess it's like their commitment kind of shone through as we were talking. They weren't talking about X's and O's. They weren't talking about the playoffs. They were talking about what needs to be done. So I was impressed by that. It was great talking with them.
So did you interview them both at the same time? Obviously,
no, it was different. It was
okay.
At different times, and they had the same energy. They had the same commitment and dedication. So yeah, at different times.
Yep. Now you've covered sports for a long time, and this time has been very difficult considering, one, you're not at games, so you can't really get the access you want.
Right.
Two, you're at home. You're not really traveling like that. And then three, with everything that's going on in the country, whether it's corona-related, racism-related. And then four, you're a Black woman, so you have all these type of things coming at you. You're dealing with, number one, how are you holding up? And two, how are you able to manage being a Black woman and a sports writer at this particular time?
Wow. Yeah, everybody's been dealing with a whole lot. It's been very challenging on every level, but not just professionally. As I said, first and foremost, I'm a mom, and I have a 17-year-old Black male child. That says it all right there. Shout out Jeremiah. He, the events of this year, they've hit home. George Floyd, the police brutality, Ahmaud Arbery, all look like my son. He looks like them, so it's been a lot just dealing with that this whole year. Of course, coronavirus and everything, he's a senior in high school, so not wanting him to be, exposed to anything. As a Black woman, I've always been around sports, and I'm in my 4th year covering both leagues, and that's a blessing, and I'm grateful for that. So I've just been, I always tell people I'm not afraid to say, I definitely am a believer. And so I have a lot of faith and I, pray, but I get frustrated sometimes. And, I have to just keep looking up because that's where it's at. Like I always tell everybody. So yeah, it's definitely been difficult as a mother of a Black male child.
Yeah, I understand. I have a young daughter myself, so I definitely kind of understand all that. If y'all have any questions for Dorothy, go ahead and drop it right there in the comment section. So let's talk a little hoops right now. Season's winding down. WNBA season's winding down. So what's been your biggest take so far? I know Seattle's been kind of killing it, also the Sparks as well.
Man, oh gosh, biggest take. I don't know. I think the rookie of the year has been interesting to me because it's a lot. Last year, it was pretty much a two-woman race,
Right.
between, Fee and Enrique.
Right.
This year, it's several rookies that are out there doing the thing now. Some of them have also had injuries. Of course, Sabrina hasn't even played. She's pretty much done for the season.
Right.
Sabrina Ionescu with New York,
Mm-hmm.
but then you had Satu Sably here in Dallas. She sat out a couple of games,
Right.
but she's doing some things. And then you have Crystal, Dangerfield coming in, also with I want to say, is she with Phoenix? No. The same team that Nafisa was with as well.
Okay.
And so then you also have Kennedy Carter, but then she got hurt and she's just coming back this week from being out for a couple of weeks. So you have a lot of rookies doing a whole lot this year. So it was a pretty good rookie class this year. So that has stood out to me the most, is the rookie class this year. So
yeah. No, guys, if you have any questions for Dorothy, go and drop it right there in the comment section. Now, it's been a little talk about Sue Bird possibly retiring. What do you think about that?
Well, she'll be 39 in the fall. And Father Time is not defeated.
Mm-hmm.
But if she's still feeling well, she can continue to play. If the passion is still there, she has what three rings now, 3 championships.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it'll be up to her, but she'll be 39 in the fall. So if she has the passion, she can continue to play. She's still playing at a great level, but of course, Father Time, is not, defeated.
Right. And I know she won't have no problem handing the reins off to Brianna, who's doing a phenomenal job up there in Seattle as well.
Right.
Yeah. So I got a question for you in regards to what's my girl name? Maya Moore, who made new headlines earlier this year. I've got to ask you about that early. Talk to me a little bit about, or fill those our listeners in who isn't familiar with her particular situation, that the great thing that she did this past year.
Yes, this is her second year actually.
Mm-hmm.
She quote unquote left the league last year, to work on this case, of this guy who was in prison, and she became a part of the Innocence Project, and had his case reopened and just found new evidence and worked alongside some others, and his case was overturned and he was released from prison, and she was there when it happened. It was like she took a year out of her life, her career, to go help someone else who she felt was innocent, and turns out that he was. And that was such a powerful thing to basically lay down your life for someone else. And so she that was pretty big. And
it's huge. It was huge. All right, y'all, I got one more question for Dorothy. If y'all have any questions, go ahead and drop it right there in the comment section. So I'm going to touch home a little bit to Dallas real quick. Now, the Mavs, even though they lost last week to the Clippers, but I know the future is really bright for our team, despite Porzingis being out once again with a meniscus tear. But obviously, the big news that everybody wants to talk about is Luka Doncic. How do you think he fared for his second year in the league?
Luka did the darn thing. I mean, he came out of nowhere his second year. The first year he was really good, rookie of the year and all of that. But I think his jump, from year 1 to year 2 was astronomical. They had him in the running for most improved player, which a lot of people were like, wait, what? He should be in the MVP conversation, which he was for a minute. But yeah, Luka, he just took his game to a whole nother level. But then, people have to remember that he's been playing against grown men since he was 16, over in Europe. So he's used to, being on the court. He just turned 21, not too long ago. But his game, I mean, he's going to be a key piece, not just for the Mavericks, but for the league for years to come.
We'll just see what happens with Porzingis, because that man is really injury prone. You know what I mean? His injury came out of nowhere too. He was playing and everything, and next thing you know, he was out, and then his meniscus torn. He was done for the rest of the series.
Exactly. Yeah, he reached. He said he thinks he heard it when he was reaching for a rebound or something and overextended or something. But before that, he was dropping 30. I mean,
he was doing really good.
Points, averaging 30 points a game. So he has a game. He just needs to stay injury-free.
Right. Well, Dorothy, man, thank you so much for joining me here this evening. I really take the time out of your busy schedule. Since you're right around the corner, once Corona's over, we won't have to get up. We're going to have to go for lunch or something like that, okay?
I know. We've been talking about trying to do something. So, yes, thank you for having me.
No problem. And before I let you go, how can people connect with you, check out all your articles and everything?
I'm Dorothy J. Gentry on all social media and Athletic, New York Times,
Come on, drop them.
News.
Yeah, drop them.
Hoops Habit. So all of those.
All right. Appreciate it, Dorothy. We'll talk soon, okay?
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Bye.
All right, y'all. That was Dorothy Gentry, freelance writer, veteran in the sports industry, works for the Athletic, New York Times, and a whole bunch of other publications. So thank y'all for joining me here tonight for episode 8 of the Crunch Time Instagram Live podcast, where you get nothing but real talk, analysis, and conversations about sports, race, anything, politics, news, current events that's happening in our country, man. So if y'all have any suggestions on how I can get better going, drop them in the comment section, DM me, email me, do whatever you want to do, because I'm just trying to get better, trying to make this thing as great as it possibly can. As for next week, the NFL returns, so I'm coming strong next week. I'm going to have some real heavy hitters ready to roll. We're going to be talking about everything regards to the NFL, which I'm very excited about, and I don't know if they're going to have fans, so we'll see what happens. But I want to thank y'all for joining me, and make sure y'all follow the Crunch Time Instagram Live podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. So thank y'all for joining me tonight. Y'all be good. Y'all be easy. And y'all take care. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Y'all appreciate it.